Ah, time to kill the background music before copyright stuff happens. Alright then. Hopefully I'm audible. I will see if I am audible. Seems audible. Hey internets. It's been a little while. Things been complicated schedule-wise actually for these streams. I guess that is a little bit of a... Hello Jane. Think that's a little bit of a sanity returning sign that people don't have as much free time in the sofa as they used to. I would still say that things are pretty much in the sucky part of the spectra in Sweden, because we still, well, like everyone else. Hey Dave, it's been... Vaccination has started, but it's going slow. They're not getting enough vaccine to be as quick as... Because first they were really ambitious and said, yeah, we'll have the entire population done by midsummer. They won't. Now it looks as if we will hopefully have everyone over 40 vaccinated by the end of June. So things are slow. But I guess it's in a way, hey Feda, I think it's in a way it's good that they are ambitious, but then in reality it's fucking difficult to vaccinate. Even we're a small country, we're 10 million people, but that is a big thing to get 10 million people to show up twice and inject stuff in their arm. Not everybody will be vaccinated, but hopefully everybody I care about, and enough of the others too. So that we get some sort of, herd immunity, which is a bad word these days, but it is the thing we are doing when it comes to vaccine, and we've always done that. So if enough people have it, fine, then it's okay that not everybody has it. Well, in any case, it's been a bit difficult to get the streams going, and I also been feeling that I'm starting to become a little bit, I need to find a new angle, and I will try to do that. But I have this is actually episode 48. So 48 times I've been online talking and getting responses from you guys, and for that I'm very grateful. Would have sucked to sit here alone. But I will do 2 more. And after episode 50, second season has ended, then I will think a little bit on, how and what should I do when it comes to streams. Because then it's been a year. And 1 year without a script and without a thought or without an idea, maybe that is, enough. Then I need to think a little bit. Maybe gather a few more people, have some sort of rotating, staff or whatever. I'm not sure yet. All ideas are welcome. I will certainly keep doing this to vent and to also spread some music and just enjoy the time with you guys. But also I need to make it feel like I'm actually contributing something. How much of anti-vax sentiment is there by you? There are anti-vaxxers, which is very interesting, and I'm sure all of them are vaccinated for other stuff, but all of a sudden they have awoken and started to dig into YouTube. I think is the source where most people find their alternative science. But there are anti-vaxxers, and they've actually... Some of them were protesting not so long ago, and of course, if you don't agree that there is an illness going on, there is no problem in gathering in big numbers and protesting it, I guess, by that logic. But I would still say it's a smaller percentage that has that sentiment. Then I think some of them are just, fed up and feeling they're being lied to. I don't know where that stems from, really. There are so many sources where you can find information these days, and yet still there are some people who feel, that the government is lying and whatever. And I get that people think that the state is lying. State's always been, it's a business of running a country, and sometimes I guess you keep stuff away from people, but you don't need to put masks on people to control them. They control us pretty effectively anyway. I mean, they take our fucking money once a month. So it's not like they lack instruments to, enslave us or whatever. I am not one of those who feel very enslaved by the state, but I think also that might have to do with the Swedish tradition of the relationship between the citizen and the state, which has always been, and this is a long discussion, but if you read up on Swedish politics, that has always been sort of, the idea has been if the state can be trusted, the individual can be free, which, sounds not very socialistic, and it's democratic socialism isn't very socialistic, but that's a very big chapter in itself. But I think the state has always been sort of trustworthy in Sweden and been working on that in order, but then you have less other structures that you can trust. So you always lose something when you win something. But I think in general, most Swedes trust that the state is fairly okay. And so I don't think there is not this deep resentment of the state here, like in some other countries where you certainly don't trust the state. And then you can always say it's just fucking naive to trust the state. Yes, but we do have elections every 4th year, and if they really suck, we could elect them out. At least we think so. We tried. Hey, Tony. And it's good to see you guys again also. It's been, a little bit fucked up. Mostly scheduling things, but also I'm doing some medication change. So one day, and that was the same day also as Elge passed. So that day I really wasn't doing so well. So I had to, hey Manu, I just needed time to think about other stuff. That hit me. Elge Petrov was not a close friend of mine, but he's important, and it's always been important. So that it really took its toll. But other than that, we've been wrestling with scheduling. But next week we will do confessions, and then I will do the 50th stream, and I'll make sure that one becomes noteworthy. Then I think parts of Netherbird will also join me for a stream, because we got an album coming and we would like to talk about that, and yeah, so why not stream about it? So we'll tell you a little bit about the journey that is behind making an album and stuff like that, if that sounds like a topic of conversation. So yeah, we have anti-vaxxers, but they're not super strong here, and I think I'm a strong advocate of science and facts, and not alternative science, not alternative facts, but facts. Then we can interpret facts differently, and that's opinions or politics, whatever. That's healthy. The problem is when we have people in the healthcare system, not nurses, but the step below nurses in education. There seems to be some anti-vaxxers, and I find a bit disturbing, actually, because if you work in that sector, you should actually believe in vaccines and viruses and illnesses, but what the average Joe thinks behind his kitchen table, I guess some people will just be skeptical, but it's not a huge problem still, and difference in opinion, like I said, fine. That should be addressed and talked about. But when you don't actually believe that there is an illness, even though we have statistics that show it, we have the dead that show it, then we can debate how harsh is this illness. How reasonable is it that we shut down complete societies? We haven't really shut down in Sweden. We kept it fairly lax compared to other places. But on the other hand, if you look on the data, if you compare Sweden with Norway and Finland, for instance, we have tons of dead people in Sweden compared to the other countries. And that, I think, is necessary to also at some point, I mean, you need to investigate that. And then we can always be, clever in hindsight and say, should have done this or that. But I mean, transparency is very important, especially in times like these. And I think the lack of transparency that some people feel, I don't know if it is because they are fed from other sources or that media is not doing a really good job. I really don't know that. But I think it's a bit, something we need to be taken seriously, because it could be there are, of course, always powers at play that drives certain agendas, and disinformation seems to be effective. Let's see. Here in Greece, color. I'm not sure what you mean, Tony. Please explain. A little behind the scenes would be nice. Albums, live shows, and stuff. Yeah, we'll do our best. Here in Greece, close everything with 500 COVID centers and open up with 4,000. Yeah, I know. I mean, countries closed down. I think the politicians in many countries, they just panicked. And it's like, let's close everything down and this will pass in a few weeks. I don't know who the fuck gave them that idea about, a virus plague. But yeah, and then they realized that this is impossible. So then they stand there and have to open up again. Even though it's even worse. So I think politicians they do their thing, which is not always connected so much to reality. And then we have scientists. But science is also, there's not one way of viewing data. So they will also fight. And we had some really nasty discussions in between different scientific sort of camps in Sweden. They've been battling it out in media, which is unusual, but I guess it sells paper magazines. But I think it's also confused a lot of people. I mean, I am in the science sphere normally, so I mean, I know it's very normal that they have different opinions, and this is how we progress science. But when they decide to hammer it out in public, people get really scared because it seems like people don't know what's going on, and we didn't. And I think we haven't been clear enough about that. I mean, everybody tried to act as if we were 100% certain, and we weren't. So I think transparency, in the sense that sometimes we must be able to admit that we don't know, but we do the best we can, is very important. And sometimes also, then naturally, you also, which hasn't happened in Sweden, you need to also say that, well, that didn't go so well. That is a problem. Yeah, so, but COVID and Corona, I tried to stay away from, having opinions about it. It's very hard to have an opinion. We know still so little about it, but it made sense that we kept distance. At least that seems to be working. But closing down countries, some people have gone insane and lost their businesses. Has it been worth it? We don't know yet. And maybe we'll never know. There's so much prestige, so much power, so much money at stake. So sometimes it's hard to really know. Please, I can assure you, we will not do any songs or albums or anything about COVID. COVID is nothing that we need to revisit. I think if there's anything that mankind is fucking sick and tired of, it's this pandemic. And how how bored we've all been. And some people have been closely affected. It has affected friends of mine very closely, and that's been difficult. But no, I can assure you, it's not a Netherbird theme anyway. Enrique, my other band, we only write about historical calamities. So Enrique will not be around for 200 years. Otherwise, in 200 years, it would be good time for us to write a song about it. When it comes to behind the scenes and stuff, actually today I will give some people have been digging in the songs I've written and that we composed, but these days people don't analyze so deeply. So I will take just one song and show 3 different things that not so many people have found out. No one, actually. Well, almost no one. Just to show that we always build, or we try to stand on the shoulder of giants. There's always been people before us whom we take inspiration from, and from that inspiration, those building parts, we try to create ourselves something new. It's been said that, a great idea is normally just, known facts or data combined in a new way. And I think in many times when it comes to songwriting, it's the same thing. We take so much inspiration from various spots and places, and we build something together. It's not new. The song is new, but the inspiration is old. So I will just pick apart one of the songs and try to give you a little bit of insights, various stuffs, because I really listen to a lot of different music. I try to listen to most new metal, I guess, that comes out that is sort of underground, not this. I will do the confession show next week, but I don't like bands that are too perfect. I like the gritty, shitty, dirty underground stuff. That is what I love. And I also, and Tony, that's really cool. I also like sometimes to explain my influences by covering them. So we made a few covers with Netherbird. We haven't done it in some time, but we might do it again at some point. But that is also a way to show that Netherbird is just like a focal lens, which is how we flavor stuff. If we take a song written by somebody else and we go through Netherbird, it will sound Netherbird, but it is really something else. And this is how music works, and why I think we will never run out of cool ideas or whatever. So as soon as an artist picks up an instrument and plays somebody else's song, it becomes something else. Sometimes it you mean the covers, the artwork? Yes. Same thing there. We take a lot of inspiration from various art forms, paintings normally, because, and I can go a lot to, and I try to go to museums as often as I can, because that's really, for me, that's like a temple. That's where I can relax and just let my thoughts go. And normally that is also where I find inspiration, actually. Normally in painting museums, that's where I find the inspiration for songs or albums. Ferocious Tides of Fate is typically, an album. I had a feeling of what it should be called, and then I saw Marcus Larsson's painting of the burning ship, and then I knew that this is the artwork for the album, and this is what the album should be called. Sometimes it's more of an interactive thing. I have some theme in my head. I see a painting like Elvadans, the painting that we used for Into the Vast Uncharted, and you sort of co-create it with some other object. For me, that works really well. I know that Bismarck, when he writes the songs, he just turns inwards and plays the stuff he has in his head mainly. But for me, it's really, I go externally and I pick up things and combine them into something that hopefully will make sense. And on that topic, when Netherbird, and this is different for different bands, but when Netherbird writes a song, it's normally that Bismarck writes the basic riffs, puts them together, he bounces it over to me. I listen to it, give some feedback, he rewrites it. Then I get this, the basic structure of the song as a demo with, demo drums and everything. And then I listen to it until I find a title for it. And then that title will become the framework on which I try to explain or expand the title into a lyrics, where I sort of discover what the title of the song is, and that is the lyrics. So that is normally how we do it. Black metal bands, Monocane, they just released 3-song EP. Can find the information about them. No, Mondocane. No, I don't know them. There are so many great fucking bands out there that I never heard of. So there is an email there. If you play in a band yourself, or if you find stuff that you think other people should check out, send suggestions to me. I will happily, relay it. And I hear a fraction of the songs that come. But together, I guess all of us who are here right now or listen to this afterwards, together, I guess we, as a collective, we have sort of a fair idea of all the stuff that comes out. So please share. And also, if you drop it in the chat, if you have a band or if you know of a band that more people should check out, please just write it. I will also try to listen to it afterwards. But so almost every song that I have written, every lyric that I have written, also has some sort of hints on various things that has inspired me throughout the years. And I will try. Are you going to write any similar song to Pillars of the Sky? Yeah, I wish I can. That song is very special to me. I think it's one of the songs I loved the most when I heard it the first time, and I really felt that I need to dress this song with a lot of meaning. The title came fairly quickly. It's also, I think there's an old Western movie that I never saw that also has the same title, but I am not guilty of stealing the title from that one. So that title came to me, and then I tried to explain what are my pillars of the sky. I mean, what holds up my existence. And for me, it's always been, trying to achieve the very best I can from my position, and also that I think it's commendable when everybody, I hope they try to do the best or the most they can with their time here on this ball of dirt in the universe. And for some people, I mean, they will, create history like Elge Petrol. But he didn't mean that. I mean, he started out just doing the best he could, and that happened to be Nihilist, that became Entombed, and it happened to be very popular. I think he would have done it even if, not many people listened to it. It was his passion. He didn't do it for fame or money or anything, as far as I know. But he did it because it gave him a sense of purpose. And for some people, if you're really ill, I mean, just getting through the day can be, a real. It's a victory in itself. It's very hard. You should make an entire album so emotional, and your voice has such depth. Oh, well, thank you. I think. Actually, I think the Grande Voyage, in its entirety, it's a very emotional album. It became that way because it's also very. We wrote it very, interactively. Me and Bismarck. That one we actually wrote sitting in a sofa during a little bit less, maybe 10 days in total. It came very easily. It's a very spontaneous album. There are some songs on the upcoming album that I would say are not so far from. There is a song there called Void Dancer. Don't tell anyone, because we haven't revealed any titles of the songs yet. But the song Void Dancer is a little bit more of a dark reflection on something similar, that you stand to behold your creation. But yeah. I hope I can, at some point eclipse Pillars of the Sky, but I can't promise it. I write based on the music I hear and what that speaks to me, and that becomes a title. That title then I dig into, and it becomes some sort of, hopefully a meaningful text of sorts. Fred Dump for me, and listen. March is Miasmata, Sojourner member. Yeah. That is Sojourner. I also really like, actually, and so there's just there is two really good things to check out. Very, I think, emotionally strong extreme metal there. Great melody sense and stuff. So yeah, I've seen Sojourner once. I might have run across them, but I don't know them personally. So, but check them out. It's really good stuff. Really good stuff. But now, since I am doing this music stream, I will see if this works. Who knows? I will change. Is this still working? Yes, that's the wrong one. I'll try to get some audio here. Should never be too easy, should it? Okay, so here I think I have some audio now going on as well. But like I said, the album, the song Along the Colonnades, it's from The Ferocious Tides of Fate. I will just show 3 different pieces of stuff that are in there. The things that you might not notice, but I will come clean and confess various things that I use as inspiration. So bear with me. I will see if I can get this to work. As you can see, this is really a one-man media show, right? But let's see what we can do. I should have some sort of window capture here. Yeah, first off, the very name of the song, Along the Colonnades, it's easy to think it is partly it's Dylan, Along the Watchtower, but it's also, and mainly, it's a hint or a nod in recognition to a band called In the Colonnades. I will see if I can actually play you this, because this is old stuff. I will play a part of the song Kill the Sun by In the Colonnades, Swedish band. The album came in 1986, and they looked pretty cool, and they sounded really cool also. They sort of never really became big. They won't become big by me playing them, but at least a few more people have heard them, and I think they really have something. So I'll play a little bit of Kill the Sun. No, I won't. For some reason only me can hear that. That's stupid. That's not how you promote music, is it? So let's see. I'll try again. How hard can it be? Yes, it can be hard. Sorry. Oh well, that went sorta not so good, but I will not give up. Add source. Very professional today. Here we are. But professionalism is a little bit overrated, isn't it, anyway? Feel free to chat while I'm doing whatever I'm doing here. Professionally producing. Okay, so here we have at least a window. Can I play that window then? Because that... let's see. Let's try again now, shall we? Well, that was perhaps not the smoothest way to share video, but fuck it. At least it's genuine. So that is In the Colonnades with the song Kill the Sun from 1986. One of these bands that I think you could wish that they had more success, but you know, the music industry is ruthless. They were, I would say, big but underground before the underground became a big thing. So I guess that means that they never earned any money or anything. But if they were ever to, you know, get back together and play, I certainly would go and see them, because I think they had this gritty darkness that I think makes their music interesting. So now you heard it In the Colonnades, and I think for most people that should be a first. So I offered something there. Hopefully, you might have died during my fuck up here with the technology, but well, that's what you get when you go onto these underground streams. So that is, and I thought the hint with my song title would make, you know, at least a few people in Sweden pick it up. And it's like, yeah, do you mean In the Colonnades? But no one has picked it up. But now I've said it, so hopefully now someone picks it up. And it's not, you know, that I want them to understand that I like In the Colonnades. They should check up In the Colonnades, because that would be well deserved. So In the Colonnades, and I think the easiest and maybe the only way to find their stuff is on YouTube, where somebody has been uploading it, and they've done some. They were active, I think, from 1984 to maybe 1995, something like that. They were on Swedish television for a short stint, but that's all I know about them, really. And that's the normal case also, that you think that a band is bigger than they are normally, because they are on my radar. But and they also played some. I don't know if they toured at all. Actually, I never got to see them. But that's one of the three things that I wanted to pick up from Along the Colonnades, the song from The Ferocious Tides of Fate. But I will do another example, and hopefully I might fuck it up less now. I will see if I can do a better window capture. And I will play another band called Anticimex. Can I do it without fucking up totally? Who knows? And as you can see, they were not really so interested in copyright infringement thingies. So you might see that they stole some intellectual property here. It's very close to an absolute vodka bottle. But they are like a D stroke, D beat band. Very harsh, very brutal stuff actually. And I will play you a piece of their song "Under the Sun," which I, really flagrantly quoted in the lyrics of Along the Colonnades. Under the sun, new gods come alive. And if you're into more harsher stuff, this might be also worth checking up. So I will play it. Yeah. Also, uh, no idea if the feed cut out. Sometimes copyright issues, whatever, might kill my feed. Uh, I don't know actually. I think the safest way to see my streams is on Twitch, but Facebook is at least the least secure because they have their bots trolling these days, so you never know. But hopefully now everybody can hear me. So that is like a hardcore band from Sweden that turned into Driller Killer later. Very harsh, very crude, but also very very early with the stuff they did. And this album doesn't look like this unless you get the first edition, because a certain vodka company didn't really like the design. So it ended up looking somewhat more expected, with a Viking and an axe and stuff. But I love the original, of course. It's out on Chicken Brain Records, the first edition. If you're into hardcore or like D-stroke music, D-beat, then there's stuff there to be discovered for sure. that really were essential for me when I started playing, because they just played harsher and cruder than most. Not a big band by any means, but also that is why I think it's fun to hint at them. And the third band that I need to mention when it comes to Along the Colonnades is, if you listen closely on the drum beat in the beginning, it's a homage to another band that is really, that I could speak about for many hours, and I think at some point I just should. And it's this band. Yeah, there is only one Napalm Death. And hello, Ricardo. If you listen to the drum beat that Nils Fjellström is doing on Along the Colonnades, you can hear that he stops on the hi-hat at least once. And that's sort of small hint, a little homage there to Evolved as One from Napalm Death. One of the perhaps most fucking glorious bands out there in my that influenced me tons. Not, I have to admit, maybe I lost interest along the way, but when I started out, Napalm Death were extremely influential. And Lee Dorian, who sings here later after this, they did a Mentally Murdered EP, then he went on to form Cathedral, which is also very inspirational, but instead of playing grindcore, he goes to play the slowest possible doom. The Forest of Equilibrium album, the first one, is fucking marvelous, I think. Then it became hippie boogie rock, which is not for me, but it made them big. But I really loved that Lee Dorian. He really dared to go really extreme in various ways. Also there, I lost interest in Cathedral along the way, but the very first album, super cool. And I really must say that Napalm Death is perhaps one of the bands, maybe the band that has inspired me the most as a musician or as a growler. But then it was, of course, Barney Greenway who took on the vocals from Harmony Corruption and on. And yeah, YouTube and Facebook, they're really making these type of streams very, very difficult, because you never know when the copyright strikes. And I am not doing these streams to earn any money. I do it to inform people about music. But the bots they lack a sense of humor. So sometimes they just cut, but most of the times, my Twitch address is twitch.tv/Nephente_talks. So yeah, Twitch. I think I will do my the next and the stream after that just like this, and then I think I will only do them on YouTube and Twitch, or maybe just Twitch, actually, just to make life a little bit easier. and that will also most likely, we'll see where it goes. But I'm a little bit fed up with Facebook on so many levels, actually. So I'm thinking about leaving Facebook just because, you know, I'm tired of wasting my time there and all the drama, all that shit. I like music. That's why I'm online. But in any case, it's nothing, you know. It's not huge things, but I think Facebook has made it really hard to even share music today. And YouTube is, I mean, they're trying to do the right thing. People shouldn't, you know, steal copyright and stuff. But most have this option. So if you have copyrighted stuff, you can keep it there, but the earnings, any, you know, revenue that comes from ads is goes to the copyright holder, and that is great. I mean, that is how I want it to be. I want the bands, if there's any money to be made, it should go to the bands that made the music, of course. But when they just kill the stream, that sort of sucks. But that's 2021. What to expect. So yeah, but I'll communicate where the streams will be. You know, once I figure it out, of course, and I'll communicate that on Facebook and wherever. But as it seems, I think the best and the most sustainable way is actually to do just the live streams and not even keep the recorded versions afterwards. And that way, there seems to be the least amount of copyright issues. And I never intended my streams to be some sort of vast library of old talks. That's not my intention, really. I just want to sit here and talk a little bit and play some music. So yeah, but I guess this stream will not be seen by so many people then. But that happens. But that's, I mean, all of these platforms, that is also, I mean, it can be debated whether one should do this more as like an online radio thing and you pay the, you know, the certifications, but then it's a costly affair, and then you need subscribers, and I don't know. I just want to keep it lightweight. That's but we'll see where we go from here. But there is this little, if you look down here where my finger is now, there is the little rotating thing with the addresses to where this stream is going currently. So Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And on Twitch, it's not saved at all. You can just see it as it goes, and then it's gone. And that is sometimes sweet. It means that I don't have to mind at all what I'm saying, because it will be gone. So, question is now, I have been, Nephente _official, of course. Thank you, Ricardo. You know it better than I do. I have been doing a little segment where I've been showcasing some albums that have been utterly important to me, but I never really got through it because, I mean, I've had guests and stuff. So I will just put them on here, and we can see if there is any I haven't shown yet. Let's see. Here I am. Oh. And I can remove that one, and I can put this one up. And if you recall, oh, that's right, I need some keys to be able to move in between. Let's see them. Let's see, where is it? P and O, that should work. Why are you not working, my little friend? Because life is never easy. Well, we'll see. This must be my most flawless stream ever, right? But then again, I mean, we live and we learn. P. What happens now if I do it like this? Oh. So here you see some of the old classics. Grind Crusher, most important compilation album in my life. Earache really pulled it off, and I think that opened the gates for me when it comes to all extreme music. All the stuff that really made me, find what I was been looking for but haven't found before. Napalm Death, like I mentioned, extremely important. Bolt Thrower, needless to say, and this album in particular. This is where I think they really found their strength. Blessed of the Sick, Morbid Angel album. This one, I fucking love it. The first one is perhaps a little bit easier to get into, but this one is really avant-garde, and they really moved to the next level here. Digital sounding drums and all, but still so fucking unique and original. Carcass, Necrotism, amazing. This one, My Dying Bride, finally a doom band that I can listen to, which isn't having this awful clean vocals. That I mean I love clean vocals in pop and in neo folk and wherever, but in my extreme metal I want extreme vocals. And on this album I really found my love for doom meeting my love for harsh music, and this album still today stands, as an icon. Of course, the other three and the Trinity, Paradise Lost and Anathema, had good stuff, but My Dying Bride has really stuck to their guns and still just keep delivering fantastic music. Every other album is different, but to me they never really strayed away from what is good. Sometimes it's a little bit trippy, but yeah. Anathema, Serenades, this album, they became too pop for me as time progressed, but this album I'll listen to so many times, and there is so much here that I still today find new stuff there that I really adore. But here it is, the album for me, Twilight of the Gods, and I bought it in 91. I was 16 years old, and I've been listening to extreme music and stuff, but on this one everything just was there. This is the perfect album for me. I saw it on the back. It was this full page ad from Blackmark on the back side of a Close-Up magazine. I think it was in black and white, but and I just saw what a fucking beautiful album. And Bathory, I've heard the name, but I hadn't actually listened to them. And mind you, I come from the countryside. There was no extreme metal record store. We ordered every album from Chicken Brain Records in Stockholm. And then I ordered this one, and it was just perfect. And still today, it is the most perfect album I ever heard. It has everything. The epicness, the emotion, the drama, and it's still what can I say? It's still not it's not Tool or Ginger perfect. It's underground music, and the focus is not 100% on pitch all the time, but it doesn't matter. It's so soulful for me. But also, I was 16 years at the time. So for me, everything just, and the Viking theme, everything just hit solar plexus for me. And there is really nowhere I can go from here when it comes to, the perfect album. It's already been done, and it's this one. I have other albums that are perfect in their genre. I love Appetite for Destruction. I think that is, the best debut album that could ever be made. I love Sonic Temple by The Cult. It's a fantastic album. and so on and so on. But this one, this is the best album I will ever hear, because, well, if you're 16 today, you will find something else. But you know, I think it's hard to be moved the way I was. So for me, this is the perfect album. I love a lot of the other Bathory albums also. I have a hard time really loving Octagon, and Requiem is not 100% for me. Still, I mean, good. But this is the perfect album, and the 5 previous albums are also fantastic in their own right. But here, it's everything just... If I could only bring one album wherever I go after this life, this is the one. I'll never grow tired of it. So yeah. Other albums that, I mean, this one, Opus Nocturne, Marduk, with the original artwork that I really love, because it's greenish, and greenish albums were really good. Those that came there, Anthems to the Welkin at Dusk, the Dimmy Borgir one, what is it called? From Darkness Triumphant. But this one is fantastic, because it starts fast and then they double the tempo, and it's just, you know, it's over the top. Everything is over the top, but it's also top notch. Materialized in Stone, Sulphur Souls, 2 songs that I will always compare stuff when I hear it to those songs. And I also love the fact that I mean, I don't know any of the guys who played on this album, but to me, it has this sense of urgency that I love in music, where they play, you know, on exactly, or maybe even a bit above their capabilities, because then it becomes this, you know, this little bit of there's a sense of urgency that it's just barely getting through some segments, and then it really becomes, to me, especially in a way that these overproduced, super tight albums that you hear today, you don't even know if they're playing or if it's just, you know, edited or whatever, and it's so it's doesn't sound so acute, because it's so controlled. Everything is controlled, and here it's the opposite. This is something so different, and it also feels so more relevant to me when it's done like that, and it's just fantastic from start to end. And there are albums that are tighter or faster or whatever, it doesn't matter, but this really love this, and I really love Marduk today. Today Marduk is more of a, you know, a tight machine, and they got everything together, but still they write relevant songs. They still mean it. It's not just another album, so every time there's new elements you find in it, and fantastic musicians. Yeah, it's Chris. Fantastic stuff. But also, it came at the right time for me, you know, formative years there. So when I hear stuff, I will have to compare it also to this one. And of course, Burzum, I guess I get thrown off, whatever. But these Licitars, I cannot enough stress how important this is. So when people say they play crude or black metal, I always compare it to Burzum. I am not advocating his opinions. I don't advocate opinions of any artists, because I really don't know them. This guy, at least, he has made it clear where he stands. I don't agree with him on certain things, but the music, the art, what it meant to me, it can never change. This is phenomenal. And I will also listen to this one for the rest of my life. And I don't think there is anything that could, you know, sway me in any other direction. Because here are like the different paints on my, you know, different colors of my palette. So everything I paint is based on these albums, and I take grains of battery, grains of bursum, grains of Marduk, and all of that is just, to me, different colors that come together in extreme metal. I also have to say, Cradle of Filth. I mean, they haven't been so interesting to me in a long time, but let's see, Mats, I think. Hey, this vampire. I saw an interview with. I mean, I can go on about Cradle of Filth, and I remembered first time I got the Cradle of Filth flyer. I laughed and thought, what a fucking ridiculous name. They must be, you know, not Norwegian or Swedish, and they weren't. But then I heard it, and I stopped. Maths debater 34. I cannot. I'm awful with names. In any case, this EP, which is like a 40-minute EP, I think it's still it's still one of the most solid ones that they put out. I also like Dusk and Embrace and Cruelty and the Beast, of course. But I can't. Whatever. but on this one, I think everything came together. It has a nice production. There are some phenomenal songs there, and at the time, it also introduced, you know, that you can go really low and also really high pitched, and I picked that up, and I keep doing that, and I think you can hear it even more on the upcoming Netherbat album as well. But I've been doing that since early 90s, and but I'm sure that it wasn't just Bursum and Napalm Death combined. I'm sure that, I mean, Danny did that, and I still think when done right, it can work really well. I have seen Cradle live several times, and that has never been my thing. I think their music is very hard to do live. It doesn't work 100% for me. But I know other people who feel differently, and that's fine. But I cannot not mention Cradle and the early stuff, because it was really that important. So, in short, these are the stuff, you know, Napalm, Bolt Thrower, Morbid Angel, Carcass, My Dying Bride, Anathema, Bathory, Marduk, Bursum, Cradle. Very, you know, mixed bag. And some of them have really, you know, kept on being really good, but I don't really care. They made total sense to me at the time, and I think sometimes I don't listen to these albums so very often, but they're etched into my DNA, or musical DNA, so they're always at the back of my head when I listen to stuff. There are more recent bands that I also love, and most noteworthy, I think Vetain is one of these bands who, you know, still has something new and relevant that they bring to the table. Mistdooming, Odin. So I could compile, you know, a long list of fairly new bands that are also good. Hierarchy for the Sky. But also, I mean, so there is no shortage of new bands that also come up and bring stuff to the table. I try to bring stuff to the table as well, but there is something about you know, a certain time when you hear certain music that will, you know, go deeper, I think, than the stuff you hear later on that you can appreciate, but might not you know, shape you as much. I'm talking blah 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 blah. But at least you see I'm alive, I am talking, and today I've been fucking up my stream with showcasing videos, and I guess lost most viewers along the way. But I will make sure that the recorded version of this, whatever, ends up hopefully somewhere, so it can be seen, or it is, you know, out there in the digital haze, which is the internet. And if so, it's so. An hour goes quickly, actually. But I've now managed to also go through my, the classics. I will update that and do some different genres and some more nowadays albums as well. Because I guess everybody has heard these albums, but I just wanted to put out the stuff that shaped all the music I ever did. So that's that. But next week we'll be back as a duo or trio, we'll see, and we'll talk confessions, and then I will confess do some confessions when it comes to bands I don't really get and stuff like that. But until then, I'm delighted that you guys came around, and I hope you will stay safe, keep distance, and wear a mask or not, or whatever is mandated where you live. And I hope you will stay strong through this. We're soon through it. And I'll see you next week. And until then, don't hesitate to send me tips on, bands I should check out or stuff that inspires you. And I will listen to it gladly. Email is, nephente@netherbird.com. And I'll see you in a week. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.